The American teenager Dylan Johnson thought he had figured out an easy way to make money without having to work for it. It didn't go quite as planned. Meet Dylan Johnson, a difficult 16-year-old teenager. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. According to those around him, Dylan was always a curious, bright boy that always followed the rules. But Dylan made a full 180 when he started high school. Dylan discovered that parties, hanging out with friends, and other typical teenager activities were a lot more fun than studying for tests. His single mother, Bianca Johnson, had a really hard time seeing her son fall into these bad habits. Her friends assured her that it was just a phase and that he would be back to his usual self in no time. But Bianca wasn't so sure. Bianca had a hard time seeing how lazy Dylan had become. He barely ever spent time doing homework or studying for tests, didn't help out around the house, and didn't want to find a job. No matter how often Bianca tried talking to her son, nothing got through to him. It went in one ear and out the other. It didn't take long for him to get distracted again, usually by his phone. This day wasn't any different. After a heated talk with his mom, he texted the group chat with his friends. He was just about to vent about everything happening when he saw an invitation to a party. He really wanted to go, but the invitation said that guests needed to take their own drinks and didn't have any money. That night, Dylan's mom went to bed early. She had an important meeting the next day, so she wanted to be well rested when she got to work. When he heard her bedroom door shut, he jumped into action. He paused his game and ran towards the co-track. Without thinking twice, he dug his hands into the pockets of his mom's jacket. Unfortunately, the only thing he found was her keys, a gum wrapper, and a thing of perfume. His mom often had cash at home and wouldn't notice if a small amount was missing, he convinced himself. But first, he needed to find her wallet. After a few minutes of digging through her jacket and purse, he caught a glimpse of the wallet. It was on top of the refrigerator. There were 4 $10 bills in it. Dylan grabbed one of them. All done, now he could show up to the party. The next day after school, Dylan went to the store. This store was infamous for not being too strict. You could easily get soda here as a 16-year-old, and that's just what Dylan did. He handed over the bill that he had taken out of his mom's purse to the cashier, who finished the transaction without any questions. Wow, Dylan thought to himself, this is the easiest way to make money. The party was a huge success. Dylan wouldn't have missed it for all the money in the world. The soda he brought was greatly appreciated because apparently not everyone followed the rules of bringing their own. Before Dylan knew it, his soda had been finished by others. Who cares? He'd get something in return eventually. He was annoyed, however, that many people had taken chewing gum out of his pack. Dylan didn't have any left. He wasn't going to get his allowance for a while, so what was he supposed to do now? Dylan waited yet again for his mom to go to bed before taking a $10 bill out of her wallet. But this time, it was even fuller. There was around $100 in cash in the leather wallet. She surely wouldn't miss that one bill. He used the money to buy chewing gum. This time, he decided he wouldn't share them with others. He couldn't keep stealing money because his mom would surely find out after a while. Dylan made a promise to himself that this was the last time. Dylan didn't really need anything but just wanted a pizza. He had just come home from school, and his mom was still at work. To his surprise, he saw that her wallet was still at home. The temptation was too hard to resist. He took another $10 bill out of her wallet and ordered a pizza. In the days after stealing money from his mom's wallet for the third time, it didn't seem like she had realized anything. Until Dylan's mom herself made an interesting offer. He didn't know what to say. He started to feel a little guilty. His mom had realized that he always wore the same 2 pairs of pants. She offered to buy him a new pair. The offer had one requirement. They had to go to the store together. Dylan started sweating. What if his mom opened her wallet in the store and realized there was money missing? They went to the clothing store together, and Dylan tried on a few pairs of pants. Once he had found the right one, they went to the register. Dylan's mother pulled out her wallet, and Dylan's sleeve was soaking wet from wiping the sweat off his forehead. Would she see it? Would she notice? Dylan's knees were shaking while his mother pulled some cash out of her wallet. She counted the money and gave it to the cashier. Once they left the store, Dylan's mom lost it. That much money for a pair of pants like that? She screamed. You used to be able to buy 2 pairs for that money. Dylan was finally able to breathe again. Once he realized his mom was upset about something else, he went along with it and complained alongside her. He was extremely relieved. Dylan was very relieved that his mother hadn't seemed to notice a thing. But this was all too exciting. He decided to never take money out of his mom's wallet again. Otherwise, he would get it for sure. Hey Dylan, there's a really cool movie playing at the movie theater, stated a message that Dylan got the next week. The message wasn't just for anybody, but from a girl he had met a few weeks earlier at the party. What was he supposed to do? Yet again, he didn't have any money, but he didn't want to make a fool of himself in front of the girl. Now that his other options were gone, there was just one thing left to do. The only way to get cash on such a short notice to go to the movies was to take it out of his mom's wallet. But he had promised himself he would never do it again. There was no other choice. He had to break his promise to himself. That's when things went wrong. Yet again, he took money from his mom's wallet. This time, it was so full of cash that he considered taking $20 even. Then he would be able to pay for his date's ticket as well. When Dylan got home, his mom was already waiting for him at the dinner table. He was shaken to the bone. Now he was really going to get it. He wouldn't be able to defend himself because the $20 were still in his pocket. He hadn't spent it yet. With his heart racing, he sat down across from his mother. He couldn't look her in the eyes and waited for her to start talking. Dylan, we need to talk, his mother Bianca said. I don't understand how you could have kept this a secret for all this time, Bianca said. You know that you can tell me everything, but it turns out you've been lying to me. Dylan still couldn't look at her and put his hand in his pocket to pull out the $20. An F for math? A D for English? Bianca scolded. How can you have such bad grades? Dylan was shocked and looked his mom right in the eyes. And I'm not even talking about you playing hooky yet. Where were you today, Dylan? She asked. This wasn't about money. It was about his grades. Dylan had a hard time holding in his relief. If his mother noticed how relieved he was, she would know that something was up. But he was definitely relieved. This wasn't nearly as bad as he thought it would be. After the heated conversation, Dylan decided he was really never going to take money out of his mom's wallet again. He had taken more than $50 out of her wallet at this point. Once he realized this, Dylan started regretting his actions. One day, Dylan's mom decided to bring something else up, Dylan's birthday. This important day was coming up, and she was curious to know what he wanted. In the past, Dylan's mom had always been very generous on his birthday. It was just the two of them. He was her only child. For this reason, Bianca decided to really spoil her son for his birthday. Things were rough for Dylan. One day, he dropped his phone and got a big crack in the screen. The touchscreen couldn't be used anymore because of the crack. The only thing he could do was get it repaired, but that wasn't going to be cheap. Dylan was afraid, yet again, that his mother would notice the missing money if he asked her to help cover the costs. He was in too deep, and his only option was to take more money. One night, once she had gone to bed, he took another $20 out of her wallet to get his phone repaired. A few weeks passed. His mom still hadn't noticed a thing. He started to get cocky. With this mindset in the weeks following, Dylan took $10 out of her wallet 2 more times to go buy chewing gum. He didn't feel guilty anymore. His mom should have been watching her money more closely. In the meantime, Dylan was busy planning an unforgettable birthday party. Dylan was so curious to find out what his mom had bought him that it didn't take long before he went around snooping for it. He opened up all the dressers, kitchen cabinets, and went through all the drawers to find his present. He couldn't find it anywhere. She had surely just found a great hiding spot. On the day of his birthday, Dylan got out of bed early. It was a bit of a tradition in their house to open presents before he went to school. His mom was already waiting in the living room with a big box in front of her. How did he miss that? That big of a box could only be hidden in a few places. Dylan was overjoyed and immediately started unwrapping it. The box underneath the wrapping paper was heavy. Filled with impatience and enthusiasm, Dylan opened the box. There at the bottom of the box was his gift. Dylan didn't know what to say. He stared at the box's contents in disbelief. With a confused look on his face, he looked at his mother, who didn't say a word but smiled with satisfaction. This was a gift he had never expected to receive. At the bottom of the box, there was a $10 bill and a few bricks to give the box some weight. Dylan's mind was racing. What was the issue? Why did he only get $10 for his birthday when he normally got such expensive gifts? What is this? Dylan yelled. Why am I only getting $10 when I put so many great suggestions on my list? Where is the video game? My new bike or my watch? Dylan kept going while his mother sat there and smiled. $10 for my birthday? What did I do to deserve this? He shouted. Bianca decided to stop beating around the bush. She confronted her son. You don't really think that I didn't notice you taking money out of my wallet, right? She accused Dylan. He didn't know what to say and was stunned, so she did notice. In the past few months, you've taken a total of $90. I always pay close attention to where I spend my money, so I know right away that some was missing. Dylan's mom told him, I was planning to give you $100 as your birthday gift. Once I realized that you kept taking money without asking, I decided this was going to be your gift. You took $90 in total, so there's $10 left over. She pointed toward the box. The $10 are in there. He decides to do something that nobody around him expects. The same day, Dylan applies for a job at the local pizzeria. He didn't care what job they gave him. He just wanted to earn his own money. He never wanted to have to depend on anyone else. Dylan worked at the pizzeria 2 days per week after school. He never complained and always did his best. He also started working harder at school to get his grades back up. His mother was extremely proud of him and had forgiven him for taking her money without her permission. After a month of hard work in the pizzeria, Dylan got his first paycheck. Full of pride, he saw it in his bank account. He couldn't remember ever having that much money. How would he spend it? That night, Dylan's mother, Bianca, came home from work. It had been a long day filled with meetings. She had been looking forward to getting home, laying on the couch, and not doing anything for the rest of the day. She might even order a pizza. Her son was working that night. Once she got home, she noticed an envelope on the dinner table. She turned on the light above the kitchen table and saw 2 words on the envelope. Sorry, Mom. Bianca opened the envelope. Inside the envelope, she found cash and a letter. Bianca had never expected this and was surprised to see what was inside. Once she got over her initial shock, she started to read the letter. It was written in Dylan's handwriting. What it said was something she had never expected. Dear Mom, I'm sorry for taking money out of your wallet. I shouldn't have ever done this. That was your hard-earned money. I know you compensated it with my birthday gift, but I still feel guilty about it. The birthday present taught me my lesson. In this envelope, you'll find $90 to pay you back. This is my own money, and I've decided that this is how I want to spend it. Love, your son Dylan. Dylan had, like he wrote in his letter, learned his lesson. He always thought twice before doing anything that might get him into trouble. His grades went up. He was doing well at his job at the pizzeria. He played hooky less often and was less influenced by peer pressure. Bianca's surprising action seemed to have played a beautiful role in changing Dylan's behavior.